AS2, valuation of inventories. The term valuation means assigning a monetary value. Inventories refers to raw material, work in progress, finished goods, consumable stores, spares. All these things consist of in the heading inventories. Then we were discussing valuation of such inventory. Before that we discussed AS2 not applicable to. AS2 is not applicable to work in progress arising from a construction contract, and then work in progress for a service provided. And then we discussed financial instruments, livestock, producer stock of agricultural products, forest and plantation and all such areas. So then after that we discussed about what is the valuation principle, cost or net realizable value, whichever is less. The term cost includes cost of purchase, cost of conversion, other costs. What is cost of purchase we discussed, and what is the treatment of such normal loss, abnormal loss we discussed at the time of purchase. Then we have the conversion cost of labor, variable overheads, fixed overheads. Labor and variable overheads directly will be charged. Fixed overheads, what do? We will be apportioning based on the production. Sometimes based on the normal production, sometimes based on the actual production. When it is normal production, when the actual production is less or equal, then it is based on normal production. If the actual production is more than the normal production, we'll use what? The actual production. This is the point we discussed. Do you remember? Fine. Then we discussed the concept of NRV, estimated sales value minus estimated cost of completion minus estimated selling expenses. The term cost of completion, what we mean is generally for the work in progress. The cost further to be incurred to complete that work in progress into a finished goods. Why should I take that? Because for work in progress, we are not taking the selling price of work in progress, we are taking selling price of finished goods. So to make this work in progress at comparable with the finished goods, we have to reduce the cost to be incurred further, correct? And then maybe selling expenses, if any, compared with the cost price of work in progress, you will get whichever is less as the value of inventory. Do you remember? Everybody? Now certain elementary issues which you give a lot of emphasis in costing. In materials chapter you will be having a separate topic called stores ledger, all these things. In CPD also you learned such areas. So we will quickly just mention such areas. Shall we proceed? Now one of the requirement is that cost identification formulae. When we discuss about this cost or NRV, whichever is less, now there are two categories of goods. Why do we have such cost identification formula is that it is because when we work out this cost or NRV, net realizable value, whichever is less, in this cost is actually or cost is taken from books. It is an actual information or estimated information. Actuals based on the real transaction. I paid money 100 rupees, which means that is the cost, correct? But when it is NRV, it is only estimated sales value minus estimated cost of completion minus estimated selling price. The entire components is something what you take from books actual and something you estimate, which is very easy to determine. Cost is very easy to determine. Are you following this? Please respond. NRV, we have to estimate. It involves a lot of assumptions, lot of complicated things that it is involved. So thereby you have to find out, predict the selling price in a complex environment. Shall we proceed? So what is easy to determine? But sometimes even though cost determination is easy, cost identification is difficult. Cost identification is difficult. Cost determination is easy. Cost identification is difficult. Again, sir, cost identification is difficult. Suppose the goods are of homogeneous nature, inseparable goods. So imagine I am a sand dealer. Everybody? So sand to be used for construction. I am a dealer. I buy and sell. Understood? So one time the load is coming at, say, let me put in a measurable terms as it is generally measured as load only. So let me put as 10 rupees per kg. Everybody. Then imagine another day I am buying at 11 rupees. Another day at 10.5. Another day at 12 rupees. Like that I am keep on buying, correct? Buying and dumping in my storing place. From there on I am keep on selling, or I am using for my construction, something. Either I am a construction company or maybe a sand dealer. I am buying and either selling or consuming. Could you appreciate that? Please respond. So it is not that after several number of buy and then I will fully use it, then I will buy. It is not like that. I will buy, I will sell, then I have some stock, suddenly new stock will come. Like that it keeps on going. At the end of the accounting period, I know all the cost. My books very clearly show date wise purchases and the purchase cost. Could you appreciate that? Date wise purchases, quantity, everything is there in my books. So determination is easy. The problem is that, can I take some stock? So can I take some sand and say, oh, this is 10 rupees sand, which I purchased on January 14. March 31, I am taking some sand and saying that this was purchased on some other date. Another 1 or 2 sand I am taking. I see these 2-3 sand alone came in February. Like that, we cannot identify what, sir? The price. Which price? Cost. But all these sand will have common selling price. So NRV is easy there, but cost is difficult. Are you following up? Cost determination is easy, but cost identification is difficult. Thereby only the formula has been developed. Shall we proceed? So under that formula we have one is specific identification method. We'll use two approach, specific identification method or specific identification method, okay, and other methods. If the cost is separately can be linked to the product, if the cost can be separately linked to the product, 10 rupees for this. Suppose I bought sand, different date of purchases, stored in a separate place. Separate place. Understood? So the sand which I buy at a particular price, I will be storing with it separated from the sand which I am buying at another price. So then I can easily fix what? Specific identified price. Correct? I can easily fix the cost to the separate goods. Correct? That is what we call it as specific identification method. Linking the price, cost price to the product separately is called the specific identification method. So when it is not possible, no sir, I have not separated such things. In manufacturing sector also, they keep on manufacture. They do not know at what price it got manufactured. If it is separable, some manufacturing company is separable, they will follow specific identification method. If it is not separable, if it is homogeneous natured goods, then what we do? We follow formulae. Shall we? Please respond. What sort of formula you will follow is that historical cost formulae, non-historical cost methods. Other methods will be historical cost, based on historical cost, based on non-historical cost. What is that, sir? Based on historical cost, we have acceptable two methods only, which I am not going to solve in the form of problems, because you will do that in costing. And you already done. If you are not done, still you will experience in costing. It is FIFO and weighted average. Are you following this? You have a separate chapter from costing. So when you deal such big question in costing and a simple 4-mark question is asked in the IPC examination, you should be in a position to answer. Correct? They will give 2-3 purchases, 1 or 2 sales. You should be in a position to identify the value of inventory based on these formulae. You should be knowing what is FIFO, weighted average. FIFO. Exactly. So it is presumed that the first bought goods are first sold. It is presumed that the first bought goods are first sold. So which means the goods that we have represent the latest purchases. The goods that we have represent latest purchases or latest production. So thereby we can use the latest price for the closing stock. Shall we proceed? This is called which method? Under weighted average, we are selling the goods from different prices. So we should take weighted average cost for the sales that has been made already, correct? Or the closing stock should be based on the weighted average cost. What is the weighted average cost? The aggregation of all the costs divided by aggregation of all the quantity into the closing stock that we have. Everybody? How to prepare such stores ledger you will be learning through costing materials chapter. Understood? So in that you will be having stores ledger. So we have FIFO and weighted average are the two methods used for identifying what, sir? So you should not misunderstand, this is the value of inventory. What you are determining through FIFO and weighted average, only the cost of inventory. Then anyway you have to find out dash, NRV, and find out whichever is less. So FIFO or weighted average, people sometimes misunderstand, oh that is a valuation of inventory. That is only for finding cost of inventory. Then you will separately find out NRV and take whichever is less. So what we are actually discussing is not valuation technique, we are discussing cost identification techniques. Everybody? Sometimes they will follow non-historical cost method, not based on any cost actually incurred. In that we have two methods. One is called standard costing method. Other one is retail price method. And it's only that for mentioning these things only we are taking all these things as separate chapter in costing. You have already completed chapter standard costing over. So a predetermined price is what we call the standard cost, correct? Respond. So valuing such stock at the predetermined price, predetermined cost price is what we call it as. Irrespective of the purchase that has been made, you are determining at a standard cost price is what we call it as standard costing method. Which means historical cost means the valuation will represent the actual cost incurred only. The valuation is actually representing some of the cost which is already incurred, whether it is FIFO or weighted average. But standard costing method may not follow the cost actually incurred. Understood? That is what we call it as standard costing. Retail price method means the goods will be valued at selling price. Goods will be valued at, suppose in a supermarket or in a store where they are dealing thousands of goods, big bazaar. So they deal with maybe 2000 different categories of goods, correct? Please respond. So if they value the stock, how do they value the stock? Take one goods. What is the cost price? They should see the system. Everybody? They should see the computer. They should be seeing, looking at the system, and for different categories, different invoices taken, cost price. It becomes a very complex procedure. Understood? Instead, what they can do is by taking the goods, can they know the selling price? Do they have the selling price? Further, any document should be seen? No, MRP is very much there. Understood? So when the price is very much there, first what they will do, they will quantify the stock at selling price. And they will use an average margin, provided they have an margin more or less same for all categories of goods. They have margin more or less same for at least they will divide into 4 categories. One margin is 20% margin, 30% margin, 25% margin. So more or less that margin. Then what they will do is that they will need not be everything precisely 25%. 24, 23, 26, like that some percentage will be there. More or less 25. Then what they have an option is that value everything at dash price. Using the average margin, reduce that profit margin, you will get the cost price of the goods. But it may not be actual. That is why we are saying it is non-historical cost, which means it doesn't represent the actual purchase cost. It is only an estimated cost price because it is very difficult to identify the separate cost price. Understood? So by all these things are allowed by AS2. So for finding the cost, specific identification method is followed when if it is separately identifiable. For heterogeneous nature type of goods, you will follow specific identification method. Everybody. Otherwise, homogeneous nature goods you will follow cost formulae. For what purpose? For valuing inventories? No, for finding cost price. Understanding? So you have historical cost method, non-historical cost method. Historical cost method, FIFO, weighted average. Non-historical cost method, standard costing, retail price method. Understood? So they will give you the sale value of the goods of a company on so and so date is this much. Margin on cost this much. Everybody, what is the cost price of inventories? They will ask you. Everybody, so use the margin. When you use the margin, you should be little careful because they are given at sale price and the margin on cost price. Convert this in terms of selling price. Then apply, get the margin, reduce it, you will get cost price. Sometimes they will give margin is also on selling price. Then multiply directly, no need for conversion. So you should be very careful in doing that. Understood? Shall we proceed? These are all called cost identification. Now, there are two approaches of valuation. In case of different categories of goods, the last row, in case of the different categories of goods, we got two approaches for valuation. When you have different categories of goods, for different categories, we have two approaches of valuation. One approach is called item by item valuation approach, aggregate approach. You got two approaches. One is called item by item approach, the other one is aggregate approach. Suppose you got type of assets, say type A, B, C, D, 4 categories of goods in an enterprise. Cost NRV 1,80,000, 70,000, 90,000, 2 lakhs, 1,50,000, 3 lakhs, 3,10,000. Now what is the total cost? 670. What is the total NRV? 6,30,000. Everybody? Now this is the information given. I have not computed anything. This is the information given in relation to a company. Company's goods, 4 categories of goods. Now if you follow item by item approach valuation, please friends. So if you follow item by item approach, then it is, for each and every category, you should consider cost or NRV, whichever is less. 1 lakh or 80,000, whichever is less. 80,000, 70,000. Here it will be 70, 1,50,000 and 3 lakhs. So it will be 6 lakhs. It is not 670, it is not 630, and we are getting it as 6 lakhs. Everybody? Yes, sir. Now when you take the cost or NRV, whichever is less, on a aggregate approach, the answer will be 6,30,000. Answer will be 6 lakh, and that is total of cost. Total of NRV, whichever is less, will give you 6,30,000. NRV as the value. Could you appreciate that? So under individual approach means you are taking the value of cost of individual asset, NRV of individual asset, comparing whichever is less. Do you follow the discussion? Everybody? So item by item approach means comparing the cost and NRV for each categories of goods is called as item by item approach. This standard recommends that if the goods are, say, homogeneous nature, first of all, general recommendation is that you should follow item by item approach only. General. Then if the goods are homogeneous nature, inseparable nature, then you can follow what? Aggregate approach. So in one examination they very clearly given the goods are separable, the goods are heterogeneous natured goods, and they give these information. They also give total, find the value of inventories. You should take asset by asset approach. Sometimes they will give all information and ask you to value the inventory Based on individual item by item approach, aggregate approach, then you should find out both the values and separately disclose. Understood? So far 4 marks. Shall we proceed? The last part of AS2 valuation. Valuation of raw materials. Valuation of raw materials. I told you all types of inventory should be valued at dash or dash, whichever is less. For finished goods, there is cost, there is NRV. For work in progress, there is no selling price, but we take selling price of finished goods. We take selling price of finished goods. And then we take cost of completion, deduction, all these things and all. For the purpose of NRV. Now raw materials. We buy raw materials. There is selling price for raw materials. Everybody? But we cannot market it. We cannot market it. Say, a textile shop can sell the textile at the original selling price, correct? After I buy the textile, I have only few textiles, that is some clothing, which I want to sell. I may not be in a position to sell at the actual market price because I am not a seller, I am not a businessman dealing in such goods. It may be only a raw material for me. Understood? Please respond. So which means, though there is a proper market for raw materials, but we cannot, the enterprise cannot sell what? Raw material. So thereby, we do not have anything called the selling price of, but NRV equal to, NRV equal to estimated sale price minus selling expenses. Correct? Cost of completion minus selling expenses. Everybody? In that case, what we will do now, standard is giving an alternative. So what alternative means? The replacement cost of NRV shall be taken as replacement cost of material shall be taken as NRV for raw materials. Everybody? The replacement cost. So first point is that replacement cost. What do you mean by replacement cost? On the date of valuation, today if the enterprise wants to buy the material again, how much does it have to pay? That is what we call it as replacement cost. Are you following? It is not, generally NRV means what? If I sell, how much I will get, correct? For raw material alone, if I buy again, how much I have to pay? That is what? NRV. Are you following? So we understand that replacement cost, the repurchase cost is considered as the replacement cost is the NRV for raw material. Understood? So please respond that for raw material, when I say cost or NRV, whichever is less, then we are telling that NRV only we should be considering. What is NRV now? It is not, if I sell, how much I will get? I can't sell. We can't sell. What do we do for raw material? We will buy. We can't again sell back. Are you following? So thereby please understand, we take what price? Replacement cost as the NRV, alternate for NRV for raw material. Understood? But the principle remains the same, cost or NRV, whichever is less. In the place of NRV, we substitute with replacement cost. So if I have bought the raw material for 100, raw material bought for 100, then when I am going for valuation, I am looking into the market today. If I want to buy again, it is now I have to pay 110. I have to pay? 100. In that case, I will value at 100. But I have already bought at 100. Now I am seeing in the market. If I want to buy now, it will cost me only 90. Then I have to take 90, not for the new thing that I will buy in future. For the existing stock itself, I should value at 90. Could you appreciate that? For the existing stock itself, I should be valuing the goods at 90 rupees. Are you following this? That's a point you should be knowing. So already first of all we have bought goods. It is not to be bought. Already bought raw material. Correct? This raw material, how to value? Cost or NRV, whichever is less. NRV means if I sell, how much I will get? We don't know. We can't sell. So thereby we take alternative for NRV as replacement cost. Today if I want to buy again, how much it will cost? Correct? So that price, so thereby it is cost or NRV, whichever is less. But NRV is nothing but replacement cost. Is that clear to you? Second, I will tell you a statement. You follow it very carefully before I write. Let me see how well you understand that. So, though I said raw material should be valued at cost or NRV, whichever is less. But ultimately, there is an effect that we are having. I am going to convey that effect. Raw material will generally be valued at cost. Now, closely follow the statement. Raw material will be generally valued at cost. Raw material will be valued at NRV only if the NRV of the raw material is less than the cost price of raw material and NRV of the finished goods is less than the cost price of the finished goods. So which means, unlike other valuation for work in progress and finished goods, for raw material alone, even if NRV of raw material is less than cost of raw material, don't immediately say NRV. See what is the valuation for finished goods. If the finished goods NRV is higher than cost price of finished goods, then you value the raw material only at cost. Then you value the raw material only at cost. So then, when should I use NRV for raw material? You will use the NRV for raw material only if, first of all, NRV of raw material is less than cost of raw material, and cumulative condition that NRV of finished goods is less than the cost price of finished goods. That is the basic point. So which means sometimes even if NRV of raw material is less than cost price of raw material, but if NRV of is higher than cost price of finished goods, then value the raw material only at cost price, even though NRV is less. Which means for finished goods or WIP, there is no such alternative principle. For raw material alone, either you compare cost or NRV of raw material. I find NRV is less. Immediately don't say NRV. See what happened to. Suppose you take cost or NRV of raw material and you find NRV is higher. Then don't see finished goods and all. Then you value the raw material only at cost. Understood? So, you take cost and NRV of raw material and you find NRV is higher than cost. Everybody, you take cost and NRV of raw material and in that NRV is lower. NRV is lower. Then see what is the position of finished goods. Understood? The position of finished goods is such that NRV of finished goods is higher. NRV of finished goods is higher. In that case, which one? Raw material should be valued at cost price. Are you following? Which means either the NRV of raw material should be higher or NRV of finish should be higher than the cost price of finished goods. NRV of finished goods should be higher than the cost price of finished goods. Understood? So which means generally raw material is valued only in one scenario, raw material will be valued at NRV. Which NRV? What is NRV for raw material? Selling price minus selling expenses. No. Replacement cost. For raw material, there is no selling price, selling expense and all. What a replacement. Today, if I want to buy, what is the cost I have to pay is called the replacement cost. That's correct. That is the NRV. The raw material. Understood, Abba? So generally raw material will be valued at cost. But only under one scenario raw material will be valued at NR. Which scenario? If NRV of raw material is less than the cost price of raw material and NRV of finished goods is less than the cost price of finished goods, then dash will be valued at dash. All other cases, which one will be valued at cost? That's all. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Pakka to you, because when we read the provision, it makes sometimes confusing, but many times at IPC level, this provision is getting tested. So thereby of recent trend. So thereby we thought of learning this provision very pakka. Is that clear? Pakka? Everybody? Okay, so you write the next point that generally raw material will be valued at cost. That's fine. It's okay. Generally, raw material will be valued at cost. It will be valued at NRV. It will be valued at NRV. Which will be? Raw material will be valued at NRV only if NRV of raw material is less than the cost price of raw material. NRV of raw material is less than the cost price of raw material. And so underline that and because it is cumulative condition, it is not any one condition. And NRV of finished goods, FG, NRV of finished goods is less than cost price of finished goods. So please quickly determine the value as per AS2. So first what I would like to value is finished goods. I will value finished goods. For finished goods we don't have two or more conditions and all. I have only one condition. Cost or NRV, whichever is less. So easily we can work out the value of finished goods. What is that? 800 or 850? 800, 750, 800. Okay. So there are 3 times you have valued the finished goods less than the cost price. There are 3 times NRV of finished goods is less than the cost price of finished goods. So let us understand now the value of raw material. For raw material it is 200 or 210. It is 200. Correct? Yes, sir. 205 or 200. It is 200. So here, even though finished goods is less, I won't take NRV because cost is less. Understood? Then 200 or 200. Super. 190 or 200, whichever is less. அப்படினு பண்ணும்போது 190. But we would like to see what is the position of finished goods. Finished goods is actually getting at 830, which is higher than the cost price. Correct, Appa? So thereby I will value raw material at 200. Here I find 200 or 195, whichever is less, 195. But when I look into the selling price of finished goods, it is equal. It is not less. Understood? So thereby 200. So only in one scenario I told. Generally, raw material is valued at cost. Only if NRV of raw material is less than the cost price of raw material and NRV of finished goods is less than the cost price of finished goods, then only raw material is valued at NRV. Otherwise, always at cost. That is the point we have just taken through this problem. Understood? Everybody? The concept is that suppose in this question, even though the NRV has become 190 for raw materials, the intention of raw material is to be used in production. So by producing that goods for 800, including this 800 includes raw material cost at 200, and when we can recover 800 or more through finished goods, it means I can recover 200. Now listen carefully, I am just explaining the logic behind why such provision exists. If the finished goods can recover the cost price or more than that, if the finished goods can recover or more than that, it means that we can recover entire cost of raw material. It means that we can recover. So thereby, even if NRV of raw material is less, I am not going to have a replacement there. I would like to continue production, and through production I will recover the value. Understood? So thereby I will ensure that the cost of raw material is anyway recovered, provided finished goods is finished goods can recover at least the cost of the finished goods, or more than the cost of the finished goods. Could you appreciate that? If 800 is recovered, everybody, if the finished goods can recover rupees, it means it can recover 200. Because in 800 what is included? 200 is included. So if 800 can be recovered, it also implies that I can recover. So thereby I need not look into market price only. Understood? But the moment I can't recover 800, then I will see what is the position of raw material. Correct? But raw material replacement cost is higher, then I will value raw material only at cost. But if raw material replacement cost is lower, finished goods also getting sold at lower amount, then I will value the raw material at NRV. That is what we have discussed here. Understood?
Cost NRV A 15,000, 5,000, B 27,000, 52,000, C 54,000, 74,000, D 1,10,000, 85,000, E 68,000, 62,000, and total 2,74,000, 2,78,000. Find out the value of inventories. A. Individual items are distinct items. B. Individual items are not distinct items and should be taken as a group.
So tell me the value quickly. 4 mark question. First of all, they are telling that individual items are distinct items. So which means you will follow item by item approach. So AS2 valuation will be 5,000. Yes, correct. Correct. Two lakh. So that is the answer to the first question. It is 2,33,000. If the items are not distinct item, then the valuation will be 2 lakh. That's the value. 4 marks. Question number 2, page number 95, but actually question is there in 96. Materials costing rupees 12,000 bought for processing and assembly for a profitable special order. Since buying these items, the cost price has fallen to rupees 10,000. How will you deal in the valuation of raw material if the finished product is sold above cost? Supposing the finished product is likely to be sold less than the cost, what value you will reasonably to be assigned for the raw material is the question. Now listen, it's a simple fact, what we have applied just now only. Raw material was purchased for 12,000. But today if I want to buy, it will cost you 10,000. The cost had fallen. Which is the NRV? So for raw material, cost is 12,000. NRV is? The question is, should I value at 12,000 or 10,000? There are two questions there. Suppose the finished goods are sold above the cost. First, how will you deal in the valuation? If the finished goods is sold above the cost, then raw material will be valued at cost. How much? 12,000. Are you following? Raw material which has been purchased for 12,000, that is the original cost price. Now the cost have fallen to 10,000, which is the NRV. Everybody, even though NRV of raw material is less than cost price of raw material, the finished goods, NRV of finished goods is more than the cost price of the raw material, will be valued only at cost price. That is 12,000. Correct, Appa? But they are telling, suppose even if the finished goods are also sold at less than cost price, then what is your valuation? NRV of raw material, which is how much? 10,000. Another 4 marks. These are all examination question, my dear. Are you following? So it's very, very easy question, provided you know the provisions correctly. Understood? Normally cost or NRV, whichever is less, but for raw material alone, it is based on the value of finished goods. Pakka? Everybody? With that we are putting an end to this AS2.